start with the impeachment stuff. Now, just a couple of things, and I don't know about this, but starting to hear rumors about, or I guess rumors about questions that are happening in the Democratic caucus as to whether they should expand the impeachment inquiry. And, you know, I think my thinking about this has evolved a bit insofar as I see the value of taking or sending to the Senate articles of impeachment in time for that to force them to take a vote before the primaries. Now, I have a feeling McConnell will slow walk it if they actually are going to have a vote until after the primaries so that he can release some Republican senators. Now, the fly in the ointment is, of course, Donald Trump and his ego. We discussed this with Digby on Friday. I don't know if Donald Trump will allow for Susan Collins, say, or, Cory Gardner, Joni Ernst, Tom Tillis, to vote for impeachment. This would be after the deadline is passed for a primary challenge, so that they could have some latitude in their re-election campaigns. Donald Trump may not abide by that, but that might be the attempt that they're going after. And I've heard that there are other whistleblowers in different sectors that have to do with different things. So I don't know. None of this is substantiated, so I'm not going to get into any details. But here is the minority leader, Kevin McCarthy, on one of the Sunday shows. I guess this is what
Face the Nation.
Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan. And they are trying to essentially squeeze all of the juice they can out of the beginnings of this basically presentation by the Democrats, right? We have been in a phase, and we remain in a phase, where there are private depositions being taken. So there is no transparency at this point, as one would expect in the early stages of an investigation. Soon, the Democrats will move it into the public aspects of this investigation and will make the case to the American public and ostensibly to different members of the House, and they will vote on it. They're trying to squeeze as much juice as they can out of this because Kevin McCarthy knows a lot of this stuff is going to be made public soon, and the case is going to be there. But what they're trying to do is exactly what Bill Barr did with the Mueller testimony, the report. That is, spin it in such a way, get an idea of what they're going to hear already in the minds of Americans. First impressions do make a big difference. Here's Kevin McCarthy trying to do that right now and talking in very dramatic terms.
What you're asking. You're going to change the course, the very fabric of democracy today, based upon someone wrote a written question of somebody that wasn't even on the phone call, that had hearsay, even though we all know what the transcript said?
Well, Mike Pence would become president. It wouldn't undo the election results. If the president were removed, Mike Pence would become president.
Margaret, you're really saying today on national television that somebody who was not on the phone call, that you have the transcripts of the phone call, no big deal, just remove the president of the United States over a phone call?
No, I'm just saying that it wouldn't undo the election. It would put the vice president in the commander-in-chief spot.
No. President Trump was duly elected as the president of the United States.
Pause it. I mean, the funny part is here, what Margaret Brennan really meant to say was, how does it undermine the fabric of democracy when impeachment is explicitly laid out in the Constitution? How does that undermine our democracy when it is like, of all the things that we see on a daily basis?
It's a statutory part of our democracy.
It's not even statute. It's a constitutional part of our democracy.
Undermining part of our democracy?
Yeah, the part that he likes. Good.
President of the United States. And I think democracy is too precious to think that somebody who's not on a phone call, that cannot stand before the American public and answer the questions, that somehow we would change the course of that. And we're 1 year away from today. What are they so afraid of? What do they have to hide? Why wouldn't they release one item? If you are a jury member, you have to look at all the information. You don't just get the prosecutor to give you one line from an opening statement. You get cross-examinations. You get a due process. None of that is happening here today. We have never gone down this in America, and we should stand up and not allow this ever to happen.
All right. Well, we have some questions you just laid out there to put to Majority Leader Steny Hoyer. Thank you for joining us there from New York. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Margaret.
You just heard from Leader McCarthy that this is just a wholesale rejection of the way Democrats are laying out this impeachment inquiry.
Margaret, you know what I say is when lawyers have a statement that when you have the facts, you pound on the facts. When you have the law, you pound on the law. When you neither have the facts nor the law, you pound on the table. What you just heard from my friend, the minority leader, was pounding on the table. It talks about the whistleblower. The whistleblower said, look, I heard something. Then people investigated what he heard. And the problem that Kevin has and the Republicans have is witness after witness after witness says, yes, I was there, I listened, those are the facts. That's what's critical in any trial. You wouldn't call the whistleblower. What you call is the people who are actually there, which is
yeah, and that's basically what's happening. And all of this stuff about the cross-examination, all that's going to happen. I mean, it's basically like someone waiting for a trial complaining that none of the elements of the trial are happening because the trial hasn't started yet. This is the only time they're going to be able to do this. And then it's going to be they're going to try and smear. But there seems to be so many different people who have information that they almost can't get the toehold in for the smearing campaign that they want. So this should be interesting and will be happening shortly.
May I just say very briefly, thank you, Steny Hoyer, well done, and look up Michaela Wilkes as challenger.
Indeed, yes. Anybody can deliver that line. In fact, just about everybody has delivered a variant on that. If you don't have the law, you have the fact. If you don't have the facts, you argue the law. If you don't have the law, you argue just to make yourself heard. Everyone has a variant of that. It's almost literally.
It's facts don't care about your feelings, basically.
No, it's not. It's not even that. It's just like it is a very, I think, accurate and well-worn saying that I'm sure Michaela Wilkes will be able to say to, or anybody else.
Michaela Wilkes will deliver that very well.
You'll get 100 different people who to do it.
We should play the end part of the video where he goes, "You mad, bro?"
Exactly. That also works.
You mad, you mad.